Well, hello everybody. How's it going? I hope everyone's doing really good. It's good to be back. It's been 6 days since I had my kidney ablation done, and everything went well with that. At least the doctor said he thinks he got every bit of it, and should be good for a while. So. Other than that, I felt pretty good, and until about the second day after I had it done, and then I got sick, really sick, like flu. I don't know, it could even been COVID. I don't really know, honestly, but man, I had a really high fever for about 3 days, over 100. Chills, sweats. It was brutal. I sweat more than a rock star trying to read sheet music. True story. But anyways, I feel a lot better. I still got like the remnants of like a head cold or something. Really bizarre, but I was really sick. So anyways, this is like the first day I've actually sat down and tried to play a guitar for real. I held one the other day in my hands and I just didn't have the power to do it. So it feels good to be playing for sure. Now I want to thank you all for all the nice comments and support. It really meant a lot. And I was down for 3 days, really, really bad. And I tried to answer some of the comments. I hope I got all of you. If I didn't, I apologize, but that stuff did kind of uplift me at times. It really did. So don't ever think that your words don't, mean anything, because they do, good or bad. So anyways, thank you for that. And I definitely need to thank my wife for helping me through this too. If it wasn't for her, I would have never made it. It was no joke. I mean, so anyways, thank you to everybody. Now that we've got all that out of the way, I just wanted to play a Telecaster. I was going to play my old Partscaster back there, but I went over to the rack and grabbed this one. This is a Shecter P.T. Custom Diamond Series. Amazing instrument right here. It's got a carved top like a Les Paul, 2 humbuckers, master volume, master tone, 3-way, and it does split back here with a push-pull on the tone. All mahogany body, nice quilted maple top. Just a beautiful instrument, like an ABR bridge with string through, and they staggered the strings. Really, really nice touches for sure. I haven't played this one in a while, so I want to dig it out and just hear it again. So it's got a nice neck on it. It's thin this way, but it's kind of wider this way than most of my like Strats and Tellys and stuff like that. It's got a little different feel to it. In a good way, though. It's not too small. It's got just the right width. Good weight. I mean, this probably weighs 6 pounds, 7 pounds, maybe. It's really light and comfortable too. It's got some light contours. It's pretty much a slab this way, but where the neck heel is cool. And the carve is done really nice. Got a good dish to it. My forearm just kind of sets in there nice, you know what I mean? Just lucky that way, I guess, but it's got a really rich sound to it. They're Duncan design pickups. So that's on the neck there. Here's both. Let's go back to the neck. Alright, let's go to the bridge here. Now that's on humbucking mode there, so if I pull up on the tone knob, that'll give me a single coil. You know? Push it back down and you'll have both coils, you know, a humbucker again here. It's got a good bite to it, both ways really. That's single, here's humbucker. I really like that. Let's hear it with a single first. Here's a humbucker. Really does have a lot of beef to it. Really just a nice balanced guitar all the way around. You know, when you switch between the pickups, it's pretty balanced all the way across. They don't get really loud or anything. Of course, you can take care of that with adjustments sometimes, but if you have one that splits, you got to kind of, you know, find the happy spot in the height, I should say, so it works both ways. Well, anyways, like I said, it's really good to be back, and you know, I did miss doing the YouTube thing at times, not every day, obviously, but you know, I thought about it. I thought about all you guys too with the comments that were coming in, and like I said, that was really nice of you folks, so I really do appreciate that. I did come up with a few ideas while I was, you know, down. I watched a bunch of Ted Green. First of all, you know, you guys, some of you may not know about Ted Green. He's passed away now, but he was an amazing guitar player from California, guitar teacher. A lot of guys got lucky enough to get lessons from him back in the day. I think he started teaching in like '64 or something. Just an amazing guitar player. There's some really cool footage on YouTube of him out there. You know, guys would bring their cameras in. You know, I'm talking like VHS stuff probably then. And, you know, he let them record the lesson so they could, you know, use it when they got home and stuff. And thankfully, these guys kept this and uploaded it to YouTube, at least through his page or whatever. But some really cool stuff. So I watched a lot of Ted. And if you've never checked any Ted Green videos out, check them out. They call him the Yoda of the Telecaster or something like that. The Chord Chemist. He wrote some books too, but Ted was cool. It's almost like watching Bob Ross teach you how to play guitar. But man, could he play. And his understanding of music theory was beyond anything I'll ever even come close to. But it's really fun to watch and really fun to listen to. So then I got into watching the Barrett Jackson car auctions, okay? You guys probably watch those. I know a lot of guitar players and musicians like hot rod cars and adrenaline junkies. So I was watching Barrett Jackson and what's the other one? Meekum. Uh, Amazing stuff coming across the auction floor there. Is just, it's unreal. But what caught my eye was honestly all the colors. Like the paint jobs on these cars were just so nice. I mean, I probably saw 40 different colors of red alone just in the few days I was watching some of these. And man, oh man, I started immediately thinking about painting guitars with these colors. There was colors that I'd never heard of, and that's every car that rolled through that caught my eye. I was like, mixing the paint in my head to paint a guitar with. So that's kind of cool, really. It's inspiring to watch that. I mean, I think a lot of your custom color Fender stuff was, DuPont paint and whatever. It was car paint. I know I've heard of them using Cadillac colors too on guitars. So, yeah, it really got the wheels turning for me on some ideas for builds, and paint jobs and mods. So the cool thing is about that is they tell you that, this is a 69 Camaro in whatever, canary yellow. They tell you the name of the color and stuff. They all have a little tag on the color, like burnt orange or, old rust or whatever the color was, they'd have their own little tag name for it. So they give you that information so you could actually look this stuff up and find that paint. So, yeah, I was digging the cars coming across, but it was almost like watching guitars come across there too in my head. So that was kind of fun, really. It's amazing what you'll do when you have a lot of time on your hands and a lot of TV. So this one needs got a little scratch in the pot. I've sprayed this a few times, and I think it's got bad contacts in it. It'll clean up for a little bit, and then it goes right back to the scratch. So I think what we're gonna do is I'm gonna spray it one more time. If it doesn't come out of it, I'm gonna change it and just get that out of the way. It's a fun guitar to play, though, it really is. I'm going to check the intonation on it as well, and I think I'm going to put a set of 9s on this one. This has got 10s on it, and it's got pretty big fret wire, which, that'll help you bend easy and stuff, but I think 9s would feel better to me on this guitar. Here's another cool little thing I was watching. This might settle some debate, okay, on electric guitars. This is what we'll be addressing here, what I'm about to tell you about. So I was watching some Rick Beato videos. Thank God for him. I mean, he's got some amazing stuff on his channels, and it's cool to get an insider in there and interview these guys, famous players that we'd all, wondered about and wanted to ask questions, and he's doing it right, so hats off to him. And I saw one of that I hadn't seen previously. It was him and Jay Graydon. If you guys don't know who Jay Graydon is, you might want to check him out. Famous studio guy, producer. He's the guy that played the guitar solo on the Steely Dan track called Peg. One taker, too. He said there was no punches on it. It was one take. He said he just closed his eyes and went for it. There's a cool story behind that, too. So anyways, it was Jay Graydon, Rick Beato, Dean Parks, another Steely Dan session guy, played on thousands of records himself. He played, I think he played the acoustic on Deacon Blues, maybe. I know he did the Josie intro and all that stuff. Amazing guitar player. And Tim Pierce was in the room too, another studio giant himself, And it was cool to see him sitting there talking, and something come up about string gauge. I think Rick might have asked him. And Jay Graydon and Dean Parks said everybody in the studios then were, in the 70s was playing 9 gauge or 8 gauge strings. So all the hits that we've known to love over the years, all those studio guys were using 9s and 8s on their guitars. They weren't using heavy strings. So, does big strings change the tone of your electric guitar? I think in a drastic, if you go from like 7s to 12s, maybe a little, you might be able to hear it, but I can't really hear no difference between 9s and 10s myself. And, I don't want to work that hard, so I've just learned to change my grip up a little bit, and I've gotten used to it. And I'll play hybrids too, like 9 through 46 instead of 9 through 42s. I've never played 8s. I think that might be a little too slinky for me. I like the 9s. 10s don't bother me, but they bother me on this hand because I play with my fingers a lot. I do that plucking. I don't use my fingernails. I just use the calluses on my fingertips, So, anyways, after a while with 10s, if I'm playing really hard and, for 4 or 5 hours, it'll hurt my fingertips. So, 9s don't do it. I can deal with it with 9s. So anyway, it was kind of cool to hear those guys talk about that. And, there probably were some guys that were playing really heavy gauge strings. I think a lot of it has to do with how intense you're playing, your grip, how hard you grip the guitar as well. I watched some cool videos on stuff like that too while I was sitting around trying to heal up. Another one was on top wrapping a Les Paul. Everybody says, if you top wrap it, the strings bend easier and this and that. And I actually watched a guy that bent a string a whole step, right? He made a mark on his fret right there, okay? And this was not top wrapped over the bridge, okay, with the strings. So then what he did is it was like a fishing scale. He pulled on the string until it got up to that mark, checked the pull, all right, recorded it, and then he top wrapped, afterwards. So one was not top wrapped and the other one was top wrapped, and did the same test, and it took more pressure to bend the string when it was top wrapped. So, that doesn't lie, guys. Everybody said, they play easier and da-da-da. But you know what? I think this is why guys like Jimmy Page did it because, this doesn't have the extra piece, the bridle for your strings here because it's string through. But on a Les Paul, um, that can make a difference. If you're using light gauge strings, it might be beneficial to top wrap it actually because on like the older Les Pauls have that wire that holds the tuners in there, the saddles in, so they don't fall out when you change the strings. They did away with that eventually and improved it, but on those older guitars, I mean, if you're using really light gauge strings, I'm guessing you can get some rattle down in here. Maybe that's why he did it. I really don't know. Maybe he just liked that certain feel. I want a certain resistance when I bend the note. I don't want it to bend so easy that it doesn't feel like I'm working it a little, There needs to be some resistance there. You don't want just like air strings, because that would throw me off worse. So maybe there's something to that. But as far as top wrapping, everybody said that, they bend easier. This guy used a scale and it was legit, his test. It really was. And they bent harder. So you never know until you really sit down and try it, and do some tests yourself, I guess. But I don't top wrap my Les Pauls. I like them, the way they are. A lot of guys will top wrap it so they can sink the bridge right down, or the anchor piece, right into the wood, which you're probably going to get a little more resonance and vibration out of it. I get that. So, there's all kinds of little tricks. I see a guy take an actual ABR from like 59, and he had the, the string claw thing, had that out on a bench, and he had a modern one, the whole hardware assembly off a 50s Les Paul. Then he had a modern one, and he had a couple different aftermarket ones. And he was picking them up and dropping them on his bench, just on a wooden bench. And you could hear pitch. When the metal piece hit, you could hear ping, you'd hear a ring. And he did it with each one of them, and I was shocked at how much different they sounded. In the post with your thumb wheels to adjust your bridge. On the old ones, they're brass. They're not steel. That made a difference. I'm serious. You could actually hear the difference in it. So, maybe that has something to do with the tone of a vintage Les Paul. Is really the hardware is doing a lot of it, or at least it has something to do with that palette of tone. Okay, because the newer ones don't. It honestly didn't sound as nice. It just didn't. So okay, you get it. I watched a lot of TV, and I was just trying to learn some hacks of my own, and some cool videos though. It's really neat to be able to have access to this stuff and research it. That's kind of why I do this. I would have had to drive an hour to get a guitar lesson when I was a kid, and I couldn't afford it anyway, but there was just no info available. And if you was, lucky enough to know somebody that was kind enough to show you a lick, a kid showed me that, and it was like winning the lottery. I couldn't believe it. I was like, holy cow, he played Stairway. I said, show me that. And he's like, yeah, all right. He did, and that was big. So I know there's so much access for beginners and players now, but I still feel it's cool to put this out there for free and let people check it out. I wished I would have had this kind of access to info when I was young. It would have been a whole different ball game as far as how I play and approach guitar and all that, which, I don't regret the way I play or the way I've learned or anything like that. It just would have been a lot faster, you know what I mean? But anyway, it was really, the only thing that kept me up above water there in the comment section too while I was down. So, anyway, I just wanted to check in with you guys and thank everybody. And I'm gonna do some videos here coming up soon. I'm gonna take another day or two and just mend up a little bit more. I've got some stuff that I need to take care of. Grass doesn't care if you're sick; it still grows and stuff. So a week with no chores done, I gotta catch up on some of that stuff and regroup, so to speak. But I did get some cool ideas for some new videos, and I'm anxious to get going on that as well. So thanks again, everybody. I really do appreciate all the support, and welcome to all you new subscribers. I saw a bunch of new people showing up over the past week too. So, I really do appreciate the new subs and, of course, all the originals. And we'll be back soon for sure. Okay, be good. Okie doke.